Today will be a quick lesson. Just wanted to kind of walk you through, guys, basically the way that we approach publishing, which I think people don't really understand exactly how it all comes together, but we'll do it. Today, we're going to talk about essentially like how to publish correctly. So we already know that your big thing is finish your book, right? Then typesetting, and then design, and then publishing. But and publishing requires a bunch of stuff. These are the main things that you need to do. Finish your book, typeset it, design it, and then publish it. And publish it everywhere. But what we really recommend, and I think that sometimes this is confusing, so I want to do a little lesson on explaining this, is that a lot of times people are like, you guys teach that you should have your own website for authors. I want my own author website, my book funnel, all of that. And the reason for that is because I can have my own CRM, I can build an email list, I can upsell additional products and services, I can get them on calls, I can build a relationship with them. If that's okay, then that really is step two. So why are we giving any traffic to Amazon? Why are we sending money to or anyone to Amazon when we know that we're not really going to make a lot of money off of Amazon? But like people get confused about this. So I'm just going to walk you through it step by step. So assume that you are ready to publish, you have everything done. This is what you do. This is like the final thing that you guys got to do. The first thing that you need to do is you need to become an Amazon bestseller. The reason why you need to become an Amazon bestseller is because if you're an Amazon bestseller, it's way easier to do marketing and get on 50 to 100 podcasts. If you want to do this massive podcast tour and get hundreds of thousands of people to hear about you and your book, you need to be able to, without having to pay money for marketing, without having to run ads. How do you do this? How do you do this? You have to go on other people's podcasts, which they've built up these huge audiences over time, this like really long, they've spent years and years building up this trust with their audience. You haven't done that. And you say, oh, I need to start my own social media. You should start your own social media, but it's going to take a really long time to build an audience. So what you want to do is you want to arbitrage other people's podcasts, other people's newsletters, other people's blogs, other people's even Instagrams, and do interviews with them. We know begin with the end in mind. That's one of the 7 habits of highly effective people. We always want to begin with the end in mind. And we know that at the end of this, we want to be on 50 or 100 podcasts. We want to be this massive guest on podcasts. You want to give value, you want to teach, you want to talk about your book, tell your story, and then what's going to happen at the very end of that? At the end of the podcast, people are going to say, how would people like, get in touch? They really love what you're up to. Where do they reach out? Okay. You want to say, oh, the best way to get in touch and buy my book and interact with me is go to my website. That's what you want to say. Your call to action, your CTA, you want that to be your website. That's why before that, you need to build your website. But in order to be a guest on the podcast, you can't just be some like random person off the internet emailing them. If you email 100 podcasts and say, hey, I'm Jonathan. I own this company. I'm an Amazon bestseller. My newest book just released to #1 on Amazon. I think it would be really great for your audience to learn about blah, 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 blah. Would you like to book me as a guest? If you send that an email to 100 podcast hosts with those 3 sentences, one of them is, I'm an Amazon bestseller, they will book you. Think about it from their perspective. The reason why they're going to book you is because they want people that are high level. And so they probably get emailed all the time. They get reached out to all the time. Oh, I would love to be a guest on your podcast. And it's me. No, I'm an Amazon bestseller. My book just crushed. And I'm sure it'll be good for your guests. So you think about it from their perspective, what they want and what their guests want. And it builds your authority. You have this massive social proof. You have this massive authority. What we do is that we publish the book. It's essentially 3 steps with the right category, with the right keywords. And also, you want to have people pre-purchase. Whenever you actually post it to Amazon, you want it to come out 2 or 3 or even sometimes 4 weeks beforehand. If you're in a category where the #1 bestseller in the world in that category sells, let's say, 20 books in one day, the way to game the system is to put it in a category where it's easy to become a #1 bestseller. So that's the important #1. #2, you want to game the algorithm so that keywords people are searching for that are going to find your book. So now you're getting free traffic. But you also want people to be able to pre-order or pre-purchase your book for weeks in advance. And that way you can get, instead of having to get 20 people to buy the book in one day, you can get 20 people to buy the book for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Even if you only get one person to buy every day, even from your social media, then what's going to happen is you're going to have 20, 30 sales that all trigger on the day that you release your book. They all trigger day one. You're building, you're not really getting credit for them. And then on day one, they all explode. And now you're going to be a #1 bestseller. So all of our private clients, they're all #1 bestsellers. It's because we use a very specific system. We have a guarantee that if you go through our system, you're going to be a #1 bestseller. This is literally what we do all the time. So once you have that Amazon bestseller tag, you stop sending people to Amazon. You also should have your book available for as cheaply as possible, literally 99 cents or maybe max like $4.99. Why? Because you want it to be a no-brainer for people to buy it. You're just, the only goal of Amazon is I'm an Amazon bestseller. I have that next to my name for the rest of my life, and I can use that in authority building, and I can use that in marketing. So as soon as you get that, you stop sending people to Amazon. Don't get Amazon's got enough money. So you just use that. Now you have the tag. So now on your website, you have your little book and you're asking people to buy it, but you are an Amazon bestseller. So now when people are thinking, oh, is this book good? Should I buy it or not? They're like, well, it's an Amazon bestseller. It must be pretty good. And they go through your funnel, they purchase your products, and we always recommend, as you guys said, that upsell #2, high ticket product, maybe something that's like a couple $1,000s. We've taught this a million times. But now that you have this built and you're an Amazon bestseller, now you can actually go on your podcast tours, get booked in podcasts, then send traffic to that site. Now you might get thousands of people to your website. Maybe you get 100 buyers. And if you do everything that we say, maybe your average order value is $100. Now all of a sudden you have $10,000 in your company bank account or your author bank account. So now you have $10,000 to play around with to either do more marketing to your website or in your next book, even do it better. The 3 steps are Amazon bestseller first, make sure your website is good, reach out to podcasts, go on the podcasts. This is, I guess it's like, there's a lot of steps within the podcast. Get booked on podcasts. And then your CTA, your call to action is, oh, you should go to my website. And that way you're going to squeeze the juice. You're going to get a lot more emails. You're going to get a lot more buyers. And you're also going to build a better relationship with them. And a lot of them will buy additional products and services. This is essentially the 3 steps. Obviously, there's like the devil's in the details of like how to do this in particular. Every single step is complicated, but this is like the overall structure of how you want to think about your book. You're like, okay, I finished my book. What should I do? I'll allow it to be on pre-order, get as much marketing as you can in the right category. You're an Amazon bestseller. Then go on podcast because you're an Amazon bestseller, which means you're going to get booked on them, and then send people to your website. Again, the game is I want to go on 50 podcasts. Why? Because you're going to get 50,000 views of listens of people that are hearing about your content. And if you wanted to buy 50,000 people listening to you for a half hour, an hour, I'm telling you, just from an ads person, it's going to cost like $10,000 or $20,000. You could technically buy that type of that attention, but even it's not going to be that great of attention, honestly. It's going to be worse attention because they don't have the trust. If they see an ad, people are like, oh yeah, like that might be good. And if you're good at ads, you can obviously make a lot of money. But imagine them listening to this podcast. You probably have podcasts that you listen to or blogs that you read all the time. You built a relationship with that author, build a relationship with that host. The trust for them, the social proof, if people listen to me and I'm like, oh man, Helen's the person, you got to read Helen's book, then anyone that trusts me is going to trust Helen. I call this trust arbitrage. So the reason why I always recommend going on podcasts is because one, it's a lot of views for free. And also it's really good views. It's not just like random ad views. It's views of people that really trust you and just went through a whole hour with you with one of the people that they love most in their life. This is the way that we're approaching this. Very important, but you got to do it in the right order because if you don't have the Amazon bestseller tag next to your name, it's very rare that you're going to get booked. They're going to just ignore your email. But if you're Amazon bestseller, love your podcast, like imagine that as a subject line. Like people are going to click on that. Hopefully this is helpful.